Hello guys. Welcome to the story world. We are to serve you best stories, but we need your help to complete our goal of 1,000 subscribers. So find the subscribe button and please click on it. Let's jumping into story. Morning on the island arrived in a hazy glow, the sun struggling to pierce the mist that clung to the treetops. The group stood near the extinguished campfire, their faces drawn and pale from a sleepless night. Only the sound of distant waves and the cries of unseen birds broke the uneasy silence. Lucas ran a hand over his tired face and glanced around at the others. "Okay," he said finally. "We need to figure out where we are and how to survive until someone finds us. First priority, water, then food, then maybe we scout for high ground to see if we can spot another boat or plane." Everyone nodded except Ryan, who was still turning over the memory of what he'd seen last night. Those glowing eyes haunted him, but he wasn't ready to tell the others yet. They were already scared enough. Jake kicked at the sand. "Anyone else think this island feels wrong?" Emily gave him a sharp look. "What's that supposed to mean?" He hesitated, glancing toward the tree line. "It's too quiet, except for those weird sounds last night." Sarah shivered. "Yeah, that growl. It didn't sound like any animal I've heard before." Ryan swallowed hard, debating whether to say anything, but before he could, Lucas clapped his hands together. "All right, let's not psych ourselves out. We'll stick together and stay near the coast until we know it's safe inland. Grab what you can carry." They gathered a few supplies from the yacht, some snack bars, a couple of water bottles, a knife, and a small first aid kit. It wasn't much, but it was something. Then, with Lucas leading the way, they ventured into the jungle. The air grew heavier as soon as they passed the first line of trees. The smell of damp earth and overripe fruit filled their noses. Strange flowers in shades of deep crimson and unnatural blue bloomed along the path, their petals glistening with dew that seemed to shimmer even in the shade. Vines snaked around massive tree trunks, some as thick as their arms, while enormous leaves created a dim, green-tinted twilight that muted the morning sun. Every step deeper made Ryan's skin prickle. There was no wind, yet the trees seemed to sway slightly, like they were breathing. Every rustle in the undergrowth made his pulse spike. After 20 minutes of walking, Noah pointed to a patch of plants. "That's wild ginger," he said, crouching to inspect it. "And those," he gestured toward some berries, "look like they might be edible. But we shouldn't risk it unless we know for sure." Lucas scanned the jungle ahead. "Let's focus on water first. There's got to be a stream or something around here." As if on cue, a faint trickle of sound reached their ears, the unmistakable babble of running water. They followed it, pushing past thick foliage until they emerged beside a small, crystal-clear stream that wound through the jungle like a silver ribbon. Relief washed over them, and they filled their bottles, sipping gratefully. But the relief didn't last long. Across the stream, the underbrush shifted, a branch cracked, loud in the silence. Everyone froze. Emily whispered, "What was that?" Ryan's heart slammed in his chest. He wasn't imagining it this time. Something was there, just beyond sight. He caught a glimpse of pale, elongated fingers curling around a tree trunk before vanishing again. Lucas took a cautious step forward, scanning the foliage. "Probably just a monkey or something," he said, though his voice lacked conviction. "No monkey I've ever seen has fingers like that." Ryan muttered under his breath. "Let's move," Sarah urged, gripping Mia's arm. "Please." They didn't argue. As they started back toward the coast, a low clicking sound followed them. It was rhythmic, unsettling, and it seemed to come from high in the trees as if something was stalking them from above. Every few steps, Ryan glanced over his shoulder, but whatever it was stayed hidden, just out of sight. When they finally broke free of the trees and stumbled back onto the beach, everyone exhaled in shaky relief. The sunlight felt warmer here, safer, though Ryan doubted they truly were. "What the hell was that?" Emily said, her voice trembling. Lucas tried to keep his tone calm. "Could have been anything. We don't know what animals live here." But Ryan knew better. Whatever was in those trees wasn't any normal animal. It was watching them, studying them, and he had the sickening feeling it wasn't going to stop. The sun had climbed higher by the time they returned to their makeshift camp. Yet it brought no comfort. The mist that clung to the island lingered like a warning, veiling the jungle in a strange, dreamlike haze. The group gathered near the campfire remnants, their faces pale, their nerves stretched thin. "We can't just sit here all day," Lucas said, his voice firm, though his eyes betrayed unease. "We need to know what's inland. If there's food or fresh water closer to camp, we'll need it, and we should figure out if this island is even on any map." Sarah glanced nervously toward the trees. "I don't want to go back in there. Something was following us." Emily hugged herself. "She's right. I felt it too. And that clicking sound." Her voice trailed off. Ryan hesitated before speaking. "I saw something last night." The group turned toward him, their attention sharp. He swallowed hard, heart pounding as he recounted what he'd witnessed. The glowing eyes in the dark, the tall, thin silhouette, the way it had tilted its head like it was studying them. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Jake forced a laugh, though it sounded hollow. "Come on, man. You were exhausted. Could have been a tree or something." Ryan met his gaze, deadly serious. "It wasn't a tree." Lucas rubbed the back of his neck. "Okay, look. Whatever's out there, we need to know more about this place if we're going to survive. Let's stick together, stay close, and explore a bit more inland. If we find anything weird, we head straight back." Reluctantly, the others agreed. They set off again, this time following a narrow path that twisted between massive roots and ferns the size of umbrellas. The jungle was thicker here, sunlight filtering through in broken shafts. The air buzzed faintly, not with insects, but with something else, an almost electric hum that made their skin crawl. Mia paused suddenly, crouching near a tree. "Guys, look at this." Carved into the bark were strange markings. They weren't letters or symbols from any language they recognized, but crude, jagged scratches arranged in deliberate patterns. Some looked like spirals, others resembled claw marks stacked in uneven rows. "Someone's been here before," Noah murmured, brushing his fingers over the grooves. Sarah shook her head quickly. "Or something," she corrected, her eyes wide. Emily glanced around nervously. "You think there are people here? Like, other survivors?" Ryan stared at the marks. They felt wrong. Not human, not accidental, purposeful, but alien. "If there are people," he said quietly, "why haven't we seen any sign of them?" They pressed on, unease mounting with every step. A mile inland, they stumbled upon a small clearing. At first, it looked like a campsite. Stones arranged in a circle, ashes long gone cold, and scraps of woven plant fibers scattered like someone had once built a shelter. But there were no footprints, no tools, nothing that suggested humans had left it. Instead, the arrangement felt strange, almost ritualistic. Bones, small animal bones, bleached white, hung from vines tied to the branches overhead, clicking softly in the breeze. The sound was unnerving, like faint whispers in the otherwise still jungle. "What the hell is this?" Jake muttered, his usual bravado faltering. Lucas crouched near the stone circle, frowning. "Could have been some kind of trap, or maybe a signal?" Ryan shook his head. The bones were arranged too precisely, like symbols or warnings. His gut screamed, "This isn't human." A sudden rustle made them all whirl around. Branches swayed violently a few yards away, but nothing emerged. Then came the clicking sound again, closer this time, deliberate, as though something was circling them, pushing them toward panic. "Let's go," Sarah whispered, her face pale. "Please, let's just go." They didn't argue. The group bolted back down the path, stumbling over roots and pushing through dense foliage until they burst onto the beach, gasping for air. For a long time, no one spoke. The fire pit, the yacht bobbing lazily near the shore, even the steady sound of waves felt wrong now, like the island itself was watching them. Mia finally broke the silence, her voice barely above a whisper. "Whatever's on this island, it's not just animals, and it's not friendly." Ryan stared out at the horizon, wishing desperately for a passing ship, for any sign of rescue. But the ocean stretched empty in every direction. They were alone here. Or rather, they weren't alone at all. Somewhere in the jungle, deep past the mist and the carved symbols, something intelligent and predatory was waiting, studying, deciding what to do with them. And Ryan had the terrifying feeling that their arrival on this island wasn't an accident. Something had brought them here. Something that knew they were coming long before they ran out of fuel. The dream vacation was long dead. This was a trap they hadn't seen until it was too late. Thanks for listening. Hit the like button if you really like this story, and don't forget to subscribe.